So here we are, broadcasting from AI4 in Las Vegas, Nevada. And your parasocial daddy is tired. I've just been walking around this whole conference center today, talking with folks, watching some keynotes. And anyways, I figured while I was here, I would give you some of the insights that I have learned from actually talking to real people in the technology world. Because that is what I try to do. Everybody says Eli, the computer guy, is so arrogant, always saying these things that he believes. And here's the thing, most of the time I'm just saying what I hear other people say. That is the reality of Eli, the computer guy. I am a real technology professional. I'm lazy as hell. Copy and paste is the way to go. Anyway, so one of the interesting things is I was talking to an IT director this morning, and he was talking about how AI is reshaping his department. And I think this is very interesting because this shows you the reality of what is going on that is not the same as what you hear in the mainstream media. So one of the big things you hear about in the mainstream media is all of these massive layoffs that are going on, and we are told because of artificial intelligence, right? Block eliminates half of their employees because of AI, right? Other companies, right, are firing 10 or 20,000 of their employees because of artificial intelligence. And one of the things that I say is that's just not how this crap works, right? When you're running a business, it's really bad when you eliminate that many people because you eliminate a lot of institutional knowledge, you eliminate a lot of workflows, you eliminate a lot of those types of things. And frankly, artificial intelligence just isn't bringing the resources to bear where that would make sense, eliminating that many employees. So what was interesting today, talking to the director of IT, is he was talking about with his company how they, because of artificial intelligence and automation, we'll talk about that in a different video. But because of artificial intelligence and automation, they have eliminated 30 of their IT support roles. So he's working in a company with 2,000 employees. Last year they had 80 IT support roles, and now they have 50 IT support roles. And you're like, wow, they laid off 30 employees? No, in fact, they didn't. Therefore, they would not have to document this anywhere. Basically, 30 employees were simply eliminated through what is called attrition. So I was talking to this IT director, and he knows AI is important, and he knows automation is important, my favorite buzzword for the current time period. And he knows that his bosses are looking for ways to basically to save money in his department, right? And so they have been implementing these AI and automation routines over the past little while. And basically what he's been able to find is that he's been able to assign a lot of taskings to this AI and automation routines so that when employees leave, he simply does not backfill the position. So when we talk about backfilling, that's basically when you hire for the position when somebody left, right? Somebody leaves your help desk, you hire another person in order to maintain the same number of people. And the interesting thing that he was talking about is that basically with these new technologies, he just simply doesn't have to backfill those positions, and therefore those positions disappear without it really having to be documented anywhere publicly. And this is the thing that I get concerned about with AI and automation, is that a lot of the job losses that are going to happen, and a lot of the job losses that are actually happening, are not the ones that are being documented, are not the ones that are in the news, are not the ones where the Warren Act comes up or anything else, where basically you start to get more and more efficiency gains. Therefore, when somebody leaves, you just simply do not replace them. And one of the interesting things to be thinking about, and this is something that you really do have to be concerned about, is what happens when you get more and more efficiency gains, and then you as the employee become ever more bored. You as the employee have ever less important things to do with the company, and you as the employee, day by day, understand that you're simply getting paid essentially for doing nothing. At what point do you decide to quit? And remember, when you quit, there's no severance pay when you quit. There's no unemployment insurance when you quit. There's none of those wonderful payoffs that you get when you're laid off. there's a lot of payoff that goes into that. Again, severance pay, COBRA medical insurance, health insurance here in the United States, unemployment insurance. There's all of that kind of stuff that happens when you get laid off. When you quit, you literally get none of that. So what happens? I've talked about this before with companies, are kind of like the return to office mandates. So we had the return to office mandates about a year and a half ago. A lot of companies decided that all of their employees needed to return to the office. And here's the thing. I actually believe, fundamentally, I believe in offices. Fundamentally, I believe in return to office. But also, to be clear, I'm not stuck on any of these things. And there are a lot of times when it doesn't make sense to return to office. There's a lot of times when, even if you are going to have a return to office policy, that return to office policy should be measured in the span of years, not in weeks. But why were a lot of these CEOs, why were these executives pushing the return to office policy? It was not because they actually want all these jackasses to show up in the office. It's because they wanted a lot of people to quit. They're like, look, if we lay off any more people, that is optically bad to our investors. Laying off a crap ton of people looks bad to investors. So we don't want to do that, but we do need to decrease headcount. So what do? We force everybody to come back to the office, knowing that 25% of the people are going to refuse to come back to the office, at which point they quit. They don't get laid off, so they don't get severance, they don't get unemployment insurance, the rest of it, and therefore we are able to eliminate employees, save cost as we do it, and optically, we really don't have to say anything because, again, we were not laying them off. So it becomes very interesting to think about this in the corporate world. What happened? Look, I'm not saying the corporate world is great. Look, what happens? What happens when corporations essentially start psychologically torturing their employees with artificial intelligence systems? What happens when corporations start making it so miserable to do your job with AI systems that, again, you decide to quit? You don't feel your role is respected anymore because it's not, because they want you to quit. You don't feel like you're actually doing important, valuable work because you're not, because they want you to quit. All of a sudden, it becomes hard to get things budgeted for and that type of deal. All of a sudden, your manager becomes a hell of a lot less responsive. And all of a sudden, you get this frustration that builds up that makes you question every single day, why do you come into this job? And so you quit. And I think that's going to be something that is going to be coming down the pike for a lot of folks. Basically, as these technology systems take over a lot of work, and employers basically decide they don't need so many employees anymore. And it'll be the quiet fire. It'll be AI quiet firing an absolute metric crap ton of employees. Again, I was talking to this guy. He was actually kind of sad about it because it's just like, wow, there's a lot of people losing their jobs. But like the help desk, I'll talk about this too, the help desk. He's talking about the help desk. And again, the help desk is actually a perfect example of how AI or automation can actually get rid of jobs. Because if you look at most help desk positions, you're doing a lot of rote, duplicative tasks. People need printers, shared printers added to their computer. People need permissions added to their group policy. People need to, renew their IP addresses or whatever else, right? If you look at the help desk, God bless people who do help desk, but they do a lot of stupid work. They do a lot of stupid work. And so one of the things is that is something that can be automated. I was talking with a company here, I think it's called Altera. They have a whole AI system. Their AI system can automate 60% of help desk tasks. And again, if you actually work in a help desk, you're probably like, yeah, I could probably automate 60% of help desk tasks with VB script from 20 years ago. But anyways, right? And so the interesting thing, again, with this guy, is they had 12 help desk employees last year. They are now down to 3 help desk employees. And basically he said his 3 help desk employees aren't doing anything because of all the automation systems are basically doing their work for them. So they're sitting there, they're coming into work every day, twiddling their thumbs. Wow. That's a morale booster. Yeah, I get to commute into work today so I can twiddle my thumbs. Fun. So anyways, I thought that was an interesting thing. stories from the real world, stories from a real IT director that is literally decreasing the size of his department. And I think about this from back in the day, back when Ansible orchestration, AI orchestration is a big buzzword right now here. Anyways, I remember when orchestration became a big thing in the IT world, again, especially with AWS, cloud systems, all that kind of thing. And I remember back then, again, I talked about this, Interop 2012, and one of the keynote speakers there was a CIO, and he talked about his company had increased the headcount. It was like they had doubled the headcount for the company and decreased the IT staff by 25%. Again, that was from 2012. And what was it about? Again, it was about cloud systems. It was about orchestration systems. It was about automating a lot of things that hadn't been automated in the past. And frankly, it was computer systems in 2012 were a hell of a lot more stable than computer systems in 2002. So therefore, they could double the headcount of their company and decrease their IT staff by 25%. And so I think that's going to be one of the big things that we see with AI and automation during this current AI, whatever that is going on, is I think we are going to start to see more of these efficiency gains, which, again, people aren't necessarily getting fired. It's just their positions aren't being backfilled once they decide to quit or leave. So there you go. I don't know. Anyways, a review of AI4 so far, just so you know if you're thinking about coming here. I will tell you, I have not run into any tech bros here. I've got to say, coming to AI4, my loins were girded for dealing with tech bros. I thought this was just gonna be a wash with tech bros. Especially, I went to Austin last year. That was a fucking disaster. Austin is like up to my eyeballs and tech pros, just couldn't deal with that shit. Anyways, I will say with AI4, lovely people, lovely human beings at AI4 so far. I've talked with a lot of wonderful, great people. They're actually not shoving AI down your throat. When you have questions, they give you reasonable responses. And if you disagree with a reasonable response, they shrug their shoulders and go, well, that's all I got to say. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, wow, that's nice. That's nice. So anyways, I'm going to go get some lunch right now. I'll probably do some more videos. So signing out from AI4. See y'all later. Oh yeah, comments down below. But if you like these, Spotify. God, I am tired right now. If you like these videos, they're also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Link is down below. And if you want to follow me on LinkedIn, there's also a link down below. With that, see y'all later.